Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome to your very own Try It Before You Buy channel with your host Karamullah Kadwani. 420 for life. You know if you know. It's all about marijuana, cannabis, hashish today. Do you enjoy it in perfumes as a note? I do love the profile as it can come smelling off like a skunk. A lot of fragrances concentrate on the smell profile of the plant before it's smoked, so stay tuned. It would be so cool if I could do this in April on the 20th, and that would be so apt, as in 420. Today is going to be all about Cannabis Intense and Cannabis Blue from the House of Fragrance du Bois, with a surprise towards the end of the video. This is going to be my fourth review from the House of Fragrance du Bois, in which we covered Secret Trist, we covered Parisian, the higher echelon line, and we covered Producer Michael. But before we do that, if this is the first time you're tuning into my channel or still haven't subscribed but enjoy fragrance reviews, price points and alternatives where possible in my humble opinion, please do subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications bell so you do not miss another video. 420 is a cannabis culture slang for marijuana and hashish consumption, especially smoked at 4:20 p.m. and also refers to cannabis oriented celebrations that take place on the 4th of April. Comparing both head to head, a short overview if you will. Cannabis Blue is similar to Bois 1920 cannabis, but much stronger and oilier than cannabis. Also, a reference I can give you is by Kilian, Smoke for the Soul, which is also a cannabis focused fragrance, but rather difficult to get. So if you like the idea of grassy, earthy, bitter, camphoric, green marijuana kind of smell with slightly smoky touches, you'll dig this one. But in comparison to the two, I'd much prefer Cannabis Intense, as it's not just about cannabis but a lot of other things going on here. There's a lot more substance, spicy woodiness and a hint of sweetness underneath, and that's what I like about it. It's not all cannabis like Cannabis Blue. There's a lot more going on here with the notes besides cannabis as a note. So Cannabis Intense is all about woods, cardamom, cedar, nutmeg, orange, cannabis, pink pepper and oud. If I was to do a ranked list for cannabis fragrances, it'll definitely be on the top 5. And that's actually something that took me by surprise, as I was thinking names could be switched around. However, Blue is a more intense cannabis-like experience. Let's get into a detailed review for both, and let's start with Cannabis Intense. Cannabis Intense by Fragrance du Bois is an oriental woody fragrance for both men and women. Cannabis Intense was launched in 2020. It came out with another one of my favorites from the house, New York Intense. The nose behind the fragrance is Shadi Samara, and I think this is my second review for the perfumer. Top notes are orange, cardamom, pink pepper. Middle notes are cannabis, saffron and nutmeg. Base notes are woody notes, oud, cedar and musk. The fragrance opens with a spicy head note of cardamom, leading to a rosy citrus top note of pink pepper and orange. Then comes the green, spicy yet sweet heart notes that is represented by cannabis accord, if I may, saffron and nutmeg, and starts the journey of the long-lasting base note with pure trat, oud oil, woody notes, cedar and musk. The oud here is not barnyard-like. It is a very clean and beautiful woody scent profile, if you will, blended to perfection, well done and well balanced. I've had some varying experience with it, and so I can tell you that this is unique, where it dries down to an interestingly clean and green soapy kind of a scent. But not the typical boring straightforward soapy kind of scent. There's so much going on. It's quite complex with the spiciness and a touch of sweetness going on. Slight freshness brought about by the rose, but the rose does not come off as jammy, or it's not a standout note, just blends in perfect harmony. Shadi Samra says the idea was to create a cannabis perfume in which it is a green note, not like marijuana. Just a tad bit of smoky aromatic in which the green sour nuances dominate. Just a side note. The hint of smokiness may be coming from the oud here, which adds to the woody facets rather than an animalic barnyard kind of fecal oud. So if you do not like or appreciate barnyard, don't be scared of this one. The green note is risky, as majority of the people won't like it, but if not done right, can take it to a very commercial route. That's what I was trying to communicate, is that in which it comes off very unique and true to niche artistic blending. It's a very woody fragrance coming off cedar and oud. The cardamom comes off as a head note but stays well into the dry down. The cardamom smells very natural, like drying down to a woody with spicy hints. I think that this is something more people will enjoy than Cannabis Blue. Don't come thinking it may come off very marijuana-like. It has more of the greener nuances drying down to a woody kind of spicy fragrance and hints of sweetness with the rose. Just perfection. Nothing stands out, everything blended to the T. The musk extending the longevity of this unique blend. Good projection for about 5 hours, but longevity and sillage is 10 on 10. On initial spray, well into the 5 hours mark, eventually becoming an aura scent. You do not want this to be beast mode though to enjoy it. This one's for others to enjoy around you as well, for the same reasons. The cardamom note here, just as a side note again, going off topic, which I usually do, does remind me of the cardamom note in Parisian, and it's done to the T. It's perfection. Comes off very luxurious and is a compliment magnet. Definitely a high score on versatility. Versatility is a rather subjective topic, but can be worn year-round, dressed up, dressed down, more like a signature scent. You could probably wear it to an interview. Versatility is really high on this one. It has a personality, and that's why it can be an aura scent. Very clean, green, semi-sweet. Cannabis Blue, on the other hand, it's on a whole another level. Let's talk about it. Cannabis Blue by Fragrance du Bois is again a woody aromatic fragrance for men and women both. Cannabis Blue was also launched in 2020. The nose behind this fragrance is none other than the rock star perfumer Christian Provenzano. Top notes for this one are eucalyptus, grapefruit, cardamom, alumi resin, and Szechuan pepper. Middle notes are cannabis, nutmeg, and sage. Base notes of agarwood, i.e. oud, gaiac wood, cedar, and patchouli. The perfumer Christian Provenzano has created a cannabis accord that vibrates with daring oud facets and smoky woody tones of gaiac wood and patchouli. The grassy character is combined with warm elements of Szechuan pepper and cardamom, lifted with herbal notes and a swirl of tart grapefruit. You would think cannabis is the rockstar note, but is accompanied with the grapefruit, adding a sharp, sour, slightly bitter citrus note complementing the cannabis vibes super well. The oud in here is definitely a superstar. Along with the gaiac wood provides a beautiful earthiness. Slightly green, and the eucalyptus with its highly aromatic foliage. Eucalyptus leaves and twigs have long been utilized in perfumery and aromatherapy. Steam distillation is used to extract the fragrant essence from the plant. Today, eucalyptus is not only incorporated into perfumes but is also widely used in soap products and detergent lotions. Generally, eucalyptus is a more popular ingredient in men's fragrances. It infuses perfumes with an invigorating freshness often associated with a sporty vibe. Notably, examples include Lacoste's Brewster Essence and Rocha's Aquaman. However, it's worth noting that eucalyptus can be found in some very feminine perfumes such as Un Elle, Un Brev by Nana M Perfumes. Fun fact, eucalyptus trees are also known for their unique ability to extract gold particles from the soil and store them in their leaves. This unusual characteristic makes them a natural indicator of gold deposits in the ground. So let's see what you're getting from this. You're getting the eucalyptus, grapefruit and cannabis straight off the bat. Really sexy, rare herbaceous combination. Oud is really subdued, not a super strong cannabis, but like the aftermath of a room in which you've smoked a pot, a high grade, freshly crushed weed, cannabinoid incense vibe, which makes it more versatile all year round, again like cannabis intense for those who dig the vibe. Having said that, it is a very stellar composition but not a very mass appeasing scent. It's way more challenging than cannabis intense and may put you off, but keep coming back to it. Again, blended to perfection, nothing stands out or goes into any given direction. As such, quite a lot of people don't like the smell of cannabis, but thumbs up to Christian Provenzano for attempting this one. And he's knocked it out of the park, because I do like challenging scents more than linear fragrances that don't have much to offer. You may have people suspecting you of smoking weed, so if you want to carry that risk, it's one for you to try, which is, I did. What the heck. I'll throw in a bonus review for all those watching this video till the end. Like I said, there'll be a surprise, which is again a perfume from the house of Fragrance du Bois, and that perfume is Milano. So let's talk a little about why I love Milano. It's a scent that's not predictable. Niche can really surprise you. Leather fragrances transmits luxury, a suave and an aura. Exudes power and strength, yet it's subtle and suppleness. So this beautiful interplay of rawness and strength. Leather essentially comes from an animal, which it is stronger than us humans, a beast if you will, of some sorts, yet it has been created into this subtle belt, bag or shoe like subtleness that contrast, if you understand what I'm saying. So leather of course is a derivative, it comes from the animal, and so sometimes in some compositions may be turned or coined as an animalic note and can exude the animalic nuances or facets or perhaps amplify or accentuate the animalic like nuances along with other notes. Here it's more subtle, it's more of a luxurious handbag, shoe or another leather article, kind of an articulate fragrance. As they say, roses can be different, in which may not only differ in their origin but also the nuances they bring to a composition. This is that kind of a leather scent in which it's like no other. If you're stepping your leather game up but don't know where to start in niche, I'd suggest you start here. It's like an olfactory photograph, a memorable scent if you will. Milano from Fragrance du Bois is returned to normality. From the hardships we have encountered in the recent times, that feeling of isolation, the fear of never being able to travel again, or for me, this scent brings back normality in every sense of the word. Every city has an olfactory signature to it, and Milano reminds me of returning to normality. It's one of my first purchases after having my share of adversities. Milano by Fragrance du Bois is a leather fragrance for men and women. Milano was launched again in 2020. The nose behind the fragrance is Shadi Samra. Top notes are saffron, orange, thyme and bergamot. Middle notes are fruity notes. that's all they say. Olibanum and jasmine, base notes of leather, musk, amber, woody notes, and vanilla. Milan, the city of style and the fashion capital of Italy, where you can find rich history, art, and culture. The vision for a fragrance named after this great city was creating a fresh citrus, a spicy top note using a mix of Sicilian bergamot and orange, adding saffron and thyme. Then comes the aromatic magic touch of the olibanum, jasmine, and fruity notes to compose the character of the fragrance. The long-lasting base has woody notes, vanilla, musk, and amber, adding a generous amount of an exclusive leather accord. You can picture the city of Milano, Italy, on first sniff. So, what's so different about this leather composition? It is the citrus opening. So though they mention fruity notes, you get different facets throughout the journey. The fruity notes here are divine. You smell different things at different times. You might get a mango like kind of accord along with the peach, melon at times. Leather can come off really pungent and pronounced, but here it's a buttery smooth leather, more like suede blended to perfection with the exotic fruits. You may get a hint of raspberry depending on how you interpret this, vanilla done to perfection. This is a classic leather fragrance. When you think of leather, you'll probably think of an article, a leather handbag or shoe perhaps, a jacket. If you're wearing this, it is not necessary that you sport a leather jacket at the same time. Just a scent that epitomizes that article beautifully. That transmits a sense of luxury, a level of confidence, a level of sophistication and aura. Just a beautiful, clean leather, and the note of raspberry or vanilla doesn't overshadow the leather, or vice versa. You'll detect just a hint of sweetness and just a hint of raspberry. Does not go full out. This, I think, is what a leather fragrance should smell like. It smells like that article, so beautifully, very subtle, very sophisticated. You're not going to be challenged, not over the top. There's an airiness to the fragrance, if you will. It's not an overpowering or overflowing leather fragrance. Dressed up, confident, and air of sophistication. Could easily wear this to work, date night. Versatility again on this one is high. Longevity 8 to 9 hours, but you can detect it well till the next day, say upon waking up. Quality of the oils, composition next to none. Leather on its own doesn't smell of anything like it comes around in perfumery. It should ideally smell of a dead animal, and the hide in its natural state smells disgusting. You can cure the hide with citruses or resins to eventually smell what your leather bag or shoe may smell like, not as it comes across in perfumes. A historical thing that may interest you is that countries would cure leathers as per the ingredients available to them or as per their culture or preferences. So in the medieval times, it would be the scent of a dead animal, straight off the bat. It was used as protection, so was more robust during times of war. But coming to the Renaissance times, it would signify nobility, and hence the scent profile we relate to leather as of present day. Hence, the leather becoming refined, particularly clothing. The glove, for example, needs to be very subtle and form-fitting to your hand. So the leather was very stiff. How did you cure this back in the day? Don't puke or turn the video off just yet. We shall get into the perfume bit in just a short bit. But prehistorically, they cure it with human feces, animal manure, and horse urine to kind of soften the leather. These were the key ingredients, so the leather could become more malleable, so that the tailors could now create these articles, particularly gloves. So imagine coming back from this horse ride and taking your gloves off. You'd smell so disgusting, nobody would want to come close to you. It was Caterina di Medici, or if the Italians would have it, Caterina di Medici, who it all comes back to. This incredible woman who I'm going to say was probably the first gangster perfume lover there was in history. Catalina di Medici was the one that essentially started this whole explosion when it comes to perfumery, from Italy to France. Now, she's the one that loved leather gloves and asked the tanneries at the stage, which were in Grasse and Montpellier in the south of France, to create for her these beautiful gloves. But she said, I don't like the smell. What are you going to do about it? There was a glove maker, Maison Gaimon, that came up with a very noble idea, if you will, bathing the leather in rose oil and spices. I love again the fact that French leather is a nod to the way that the French prepared their leather products with that scented rose accent. And so a reference fragrance comes to mind, which is French leather by the house of Memo Paris, which has hints of rose and spices. Caterina di Medici loved these rose scented gloves. It became a hit within the French court. The aristocracy of the time fell in love with this, also wanted this product, hence the explosion of all things in Grasse. As I mentioned earlier, it's interesting that Grasse in Montpellier were really tanneries. This is where the leather goods were created, but it eventually became the birthplace of all things perfumery. As a result of sending these leather goods, which then created the explosion of florals being created in that area of jasmine, tuberose, rose, lavender, orange, blossom. To this day, Grasse is known as the birthplace of where we are extracting all these beautiful oils from, those particular plants. But originally, that was where the tanneries were in France itself. How cool is that to think that what we perceive to be something that was natural from nature? No. It is actually something that was created as a result of a perfumer wanting to instill that particular article with something. I love that sort of stuff and makes me super happy to bring it to you. So now you know the history of leather and perfumery in that short video format. I'll wind it up though, just my 2 cents. Do let me know your thoughts. Also let me know if you have any of these gems in your collection, or if you're at least willing to give it a try after hearing out the review. Please do give me a thumbs up if you take anything of value from this review. Do share your experiences and don't forget to comment. Feel free to ask me any questions and I will try to answer them to the best of my capabilities. Until the next time, your host Karamullah Kadwani signing out.